Okay. Mine too, but I'll come back to that one with my own question. Let me get to these others in the chat room. 3 different questions from the Thor group. Number 1, do you think that the 30 stone ships on Gotland are related in time with KRS?
No, I think they're much older.
Okay. Number 2, what type of tools were used to establish alignment of KRS with Newport Tower? And I think that was basically just, well, go ahead.
Well, and I can add that in a separate, at a separate time up there, I corroborated Scott's alignment with some laser alignments that I was doing. It is 17 degrees.
Well, and you know, Steve, that's great that you did that, and I think this brings up a good point that, you know, a lot of this work that I propose in the Hooked X is, you know, my work that I've done, and, you know, I might be wrong, I might be off a little bit. These things all have to be verified independently by other sources, and if somebody else comes along with something that's different and they can show me that it's different and provide the facts, that's fine, and I'll accept it. It's no problem. But all these things need to be independently validated before they can really be fully accepted, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, so the last question related to that tower is, could the route to the KRS have been up the Mississippi?
Well, there are a number of ways to get to Kensington, and one of those routes absolutely could have been the Mississippi, no question. The other route would be from Hudson Bay up the Nelson River into Lake Winnipeg, and then up the Red River will put you about, depending on which tributary you follow, about 4 miles from Kensington. The other route would be the St. Lawrence Sea Great Lakes route up the St. Louis River, where there's a short, well-known portage to the Mississippi, which will again take you to within a few miles, depending on which tributary you take into the Mississippi, to Kensington. So could they have gone up the Mississippi? Absolutely.
And then there's a third route also through Hudson Bay.
Well, yeah, that was the first route that I mentioned.
Okay. So the, let's see, going back, the chat room's moving fast now. Okay, what is the response to the History Channel Hooked X documentary or Scott's book by the Masonic, Freemason, or societies following the Templars and Cistercians?
It's been off the charts. They've fully embraced us. In fact, one of the interesting things that, in fact, just Wednesday, I was up in North Dakota University. I gave a presentation. But on the way, I stopped and I met the former Grand Master of the Freemasons in Minnesota, a guy by the name of Terry Tilton, who's a Lutheran minister, and just a terrific guy. And one of the things that we talked about was some of the things that I have in the Hooked X. In fact, I believe, and he agreed, some of the things that we talk about appear to be information that goes back to maybe the roots of the Freemasons centuries ago that they have forgotten about. And, you know, we don't know this for sure, but they are extremely interested. And so I'm happy to work with them and learn from them as much as I can. I'm not a Freemason. I don't plan on joining any time in the near future, but, you know, it's an interesting organization. There are many things about it that I find interesting and positive, and yeah, they're very interested in this work, and I'm sure that there are some things here that they're going to learn from, but overall they've been very receptive, and I appreciate the support and the interest that they've shown. It's been great.
Okay, let me see. Back to my question. And just so this audience knows, I interviewed you on the night before the documentary aired. That's been the most popular segment for Unraveling the Secrets so far.
Great.
And I brought it up in that segment as well, but I think it might be important to bring it up in this setting also. I had mentioned to you maybe a year and half ago or so, about a year ago, I guess, regarding one of the terms that was used in the translation of the Kensington runestone, and that
yes,
generally translated as fishing. We were out fishing one day, and I offered an alternative, which we have not corroborated yet, but that alternative was casting, which is an old surveying term.
Yes, and you know what, Rick? I love that, and it was a, you know, and I don't want to sound like this is the Happy Boys Club here, but I got to tell you that was really a wonderful suggestion, and I did pick up a couple of books and looked into that, and I haven't found yet what I consider to be really concrete evidence that's consistent with that, although I have found some vague reference to it, and I really like that idea. In fact, I like it better than, fishing for fish and the other possibility that fishing for souls or fisher of men preaching, which I think is very plausible, and perhaps it means both. But the idea of surveying is terrific because, as I propose the idea that the stone holes that are found in proximity to the Oman farm actually do triangulate over the exact spot where the runestone was found. And this fits very nicely with the theory that I propose that the runestone is a land claim, and if you carved and buried this thing in the ground, as many explorers coming to the New World, specifically the French, did, burying lead plaques or carved stones in the ground, you have to have some method to be able to come back and find it. So this triangulation of these stone holes is perfect. Well, before you can lay out your grid system, you have to survey it. So perhaps what the runestone is saying is that's exactly what they were doing. And I don't think they were doing it only to triangulate and pinpoint the location where they were going to bury the runestone. They were probably doing that all along their journey as they were penetrating into the interior of this continent. So I really, really like that. And in fact, when we reprint the Hooked X book, which just sold out, thankfully, I am going to add a few words to that. So I guess I got to say something about you, huh, Rick?
Well, you don't have to, no.
I guess I don't have to. I'm just kidding. I absolutely will. It's a great suggestion, and I like it a lot.
Scott, there's a very good question in the chat room from Glenn Kreisberg. Can we speculate on how that projection was accomplished so accurately? And I think the answer is it wasn't, but they had an answer to that solved it on the other end.